All right, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Commissioner's Corner. This is going to be my second video I'm ever doing, and we're going to be mixing analytics, Vegas player props, and my own gut intuition to help you dominate the schmucks in your league. Today, we're going to be going over the first 7 rounds of the fantasy football draft. We're going to be talking about is if we're in the spot 9 or 10. It's going to start very generic, but we're going to get more specific as I go on. So enough yapping, let's get into it. If you have a late first round pick this year, that's really not a bad thing. The amount of value at the first, second turn is juicy. I know in home leagues, there's just going to be RB after RB after RB taken early. Do not fall into that trap. It is not a winning strategy. What you want to take is best player available, and best player available at this point is going to be wide receiver. I have 3 guys that are sort of at the same tier for me, that being Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., and Puka Nacua, all of which I think have wide receiver 1 upside if things swing right for them. Before the injury last year, Nico was going off. He was targeting on 30% of his routes ran, and he turned 31% of those into first downs. He was the first read on 30% of Houston's passing plays last year, and he led all receivers in utilization percentage and points per 100 possessions. If he stays healthy, which is a big if, I'm going to be honest, he could compete for the number 1 spot with Jamar Chase. Now, Brian Thomas Jr. is a rookie, finished 4th in PPR. Jacksonville has a large amount of vacated targets, so his 7.6 looks a game might go up, especially since he's the only one in this offense with chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. Liam Cohen come in has me very excited because there's a lot of reports going on that we're going to see BTJ more in a motion and in the slot role. That means his first read target share, which was just under 30%, which is not what I want to see among my top tier receivers, it should climb as well. Now, Puka last year, absolute beast. Stafford looks like he's going to be healthy going into the season, and Puka was targeted on 38% of routes last year. That led the league. He was top 6 in first downs per route ran. And sure, his first read target share will drop because Devontae Adams is down, but he's still projected as a top 5 receiver across my average of 7 Vegas sportsbooks that I collect. Wide receiver is going to get you the most value at the end of the first round. Don't reach on a running back. You have time to get them. This is the moment where you want to take best player available, and these wide receivers are the ones that are going to give you the best shot to win your league in the first round. I'm going to start out by saying if one of those top dog wide receivers makes it back to me in the second, I'm not walking, I am running to the board to grab them. But if they're gone, and they should be, that's when I go RB so I don't pigeonhole myself later in the draft, forcing myself to take an RB that's not best value at that moment. Now let's talk about my 2 favorite RBs in the second round, that being Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. On Sleeper, Henry's going to be long gone, but on ESPN, he should still be there. People are worried about his 1 target a game, but he still finishes the running back number 4 in PPR last season. He's on a top 5 offense with a strong offensive line, and just looking at his consistency last year, after week 5, he never dropped below 15 points in any game. To get into the advanced metrics a little bit, he took the rush attempt on over 90% of the Ravens' rushes within the 5-yard line. That's an astronomical rate that no RB was even close to. 60% of all rushing touchdowns comes within the 5-yard line, so this bodes well and shows why he was so consistent last year. He also had the second highest rate of carries that went for 5+ yards, trailing only Saquon. Jacobs was Now, going on to Jacobs here. Sorry, I jumped there a little bit quickly. Jacobs was RB5 in PPR right behind Derrick Henry. And if Henry's not available, I feel fine taking Josh Jacobs. Dude turned into a touchdown machine at the end of last year, putting up 12 scores in 8 games. Probably because he saw 2/3 of the carries for the Packers when they rushed within the 5-yard line. His utilization percentage, the percentage of snaps where the player handled the ball or was targeted, was 51%, which sat once again only behind Derrick Henry. He was super efficient with his snaps, and his backfield competition is already hurt. That offense is going to move the ball very well this season, and Jacob will cash in, which is why I have him as my RB7 personally. So yeah, if I can get a wideout that has league-winning upside in the second round, I'm auto-snapping the pick. If not, I'm lining up Henry or Jacobs in the second and setting myself up for the rest of the draft by having my hero wide receiver and hero running back locked in. All right, let's talk about my favorite late third round pick, and that is George Kittle. I mean this literally. 10 out of 10 times, he is my guy here. I like taking one of the elite onesie positions, and he provides a higher value than a QB would here. He's my tight end 3 this season, and the gap between him and tight end 4 is a damn Grand Canyon, being honest. Based on my average Vegas props, Kittle's sitting around 30 points ahead of tight end 4, and that's not a small edge. That's a positional advantage you can lock in week to week. And remember, last season on a per game per basis, he was the tight end 1. The 49ers are already banged up to start the season, which means Purdy's probably going to have to lean on him more to start the season early on, so he might get a very strong start. We're talking about a guy who scored 8 touchdowns last year and was receiving 42% of the receiving touchdown market share. No other tight end even comes close to that. Add in the fact that he ranks second in points per 100 possessions at 19.6, trailing only Jonnu and whatever weird dump-off end of the season thing was going on with him, and Kittle's going to be a cheat code this year in the third round. I'm not going to overthink it. If George Kittle's there, he is my pick in the late third. There are many different ways you can go in the fourth round, but my favorite is taking a stab at Terry McLaurin this year. His ADP is not where it should be. This is a guy who finished last year as the wide receiver 5 in PPR, and he got his bag, but he's being still drafted as a mid to late wide receiver 2. I've got him as my wide receiver 12 this year, and that's with plenty of room for the upside. Last year, he put up 19.9 points per 100 possessions. That wasn't a fluke. He was always good with bad quarterbacks, and now he has Jaden, and Jaden has another year under his belt. That production is absolutely repeatable here. His target share last year wasn't anything special. It's 21.71%, which is low for a wide receiver 1 on a team, but he didn't need that lion's share to really be fantasy relevant. So I'm not too worried about Debo being in town despite the hype that Debo's been getting late in this offseason. Terry saw over 44% of the receiving touchdown market share. That's an insane metric. And because he's the go-to for Jaden when they get inside the red zone. And this is a team that gets there often. The hype around their running game is getting a little ridiculous. I love Ja'Cory. He's fine. He's going to be productive. But he's not a guy who's going to eat into the volume of the passing game like a Bucky Irving or like an Ashton Genty. Washington is still going to have to pass the ball at a very solid clip, and Terry's the catalyst of this attack. Terry McLaurin is a screaming value and worth a shot for what he did last year, and I expect him to sort of repeat it this year as well. In the late fifth round, one of my favorite swings is George Pickens this year. His ADP is sitting around 59. I have him as my wide receiver 26, and honestly, it's because he hasn't had a fair shake yet in his career. 2 of his first 3 professional seasons were tied to that bum Kenny Pickett, and that capped a lot of what he could do. In that nightmare of an offense, Pickens had elite numbers, just it was low volume. He had 32% of the first read target share for the Steelers, which is top tier usage, and his first downs per route run rate was 0.09, right in line with what you expect from a quality wide receiver 1 on a team. He's now going to Dallas. This is where it's honestly going to start becoming a movie for him. Dak is by far the best quarterback he's played with, and Dak has shown he's been able to support multiple top wide receivers at one time. Lamb's going to draw the majority of the attention from opposing defenses, which means Pickens is going to see the second best corner more often than not when he's on the field. With his physicality and routes, that's a matchup nightmare waiting to happen. If you're looking for a guy who can beat his 5th round ADP and give you weekly juice value, Pickens is the stab I would take personally. I am targeting Calvin Ridley on every single one of my teams this draft season. At an ADP of 72, he's just too good to pass up on in the 6th round. I've got him as my wide receiver 17, which means he has wide receiver 2 production for a wide receiver 3 price. He is coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard years, and he did it with straight-up garbage at the quarterback position. He was playing with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. There's not much more you need to say other than the fact that he had one of the worst uncatchable target rates last season. Imagine if some of those passes were caught. He would not be here in the 6th round, that is for sure. This year, he's going to be playing with Cam Ward at quarterback. Ward is very aggressive, and it will mesh perfectly with Ridley's playstyle. In college, Ward was an overconfident gunslinger pushing it downfield, and Ridley was 6th in the league last year in receptions of 20-plus yards. They didn't really add anyone else that will take away to his alpha role in this offense. So yeah, in the 6th round, Ridley is the guy I want every single time. If you're sitting in the late 7th round and you haven't taken a tight end yet, David Njoku is the best value on the board. He's my tight end 7 this year, and that's not just based on vibes. It's backed by my average of 7 Vegas props, which has him in this range as well. Njoku quietly led all tight ends in end zone targets last season with 11, and he had 33% of the touchdown market share for the Browns. He also only trailed Brock Bowers and Trey McBride in targets per game at the position, and the Browns didn't add anyone to take away from his workload. I like Joe Flacco as a starter for Njoku's upside, too, and he should be able to move the ball a little bit more with him at the helm. Now, if you already have your tight end locked up, I'm flipping my focus to Tyron Tracy. This is more of a gut call, but I feel pretty good about it. His ADP is at 89, but I've got him a little bit higher as my RB22 on the season. From week 5 on, once he actually got the usage as a starter, he averaged 12.5 points per game. The advanced metrics, they look tough, I'm going to be honest. But remember, the Giants are a bad squad, and a lot of running back analytics are tied to team quality. What I care about here is his role and snap share. He's not the touchdown-dependent guy, so I'm not worried about Tracy losing the goal line work because he only saw 25% of those carries last season. And as long as Tyron Tracy stays healthy, he's a solid RB option with the fact that Cam Scatterbo is coming coming into the season a little bit hurt. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up on my favorite picks if you have the back draft spots this season. If you made it this far, I hope the video and audio quality wasn't too bad for you. If this grows, I plan on making some upgrades, so let's see if that happens. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe. It not only helps me, but lets me know that people are actually enjoying this content, which is cool, and I'm not just speaking to the void. But thank y'all for watching. Hope to catch y'all next time. Peace.